right, algebra students, welcome back. We're still in 2.5. We're working on example 3. As you may recall, in example 1, we solved inequalities with variables on each side of the inequality. Example 2, we did some word problems, so some of you may have really gotten that and some of you may still be struggling with that. Now example 3, we have to do some simplifying before we can start moving things around. And the way that you know that this is an issue is you look for either like terms on the same side or you see parentheses. So that's what we may have to do, some simplification in that regard. All right, let's take a look. Let's do the first one together. I definitely see parentheses. You really can't move anything until you have satisfied and gotten rid of the parentheses. So let's perform the distributive property, and when you do, that totally gets rid of parentheses. So 6 times 1 is 6, and 6 times negative x is negative 6x, and then we'll drop down the less than, drop down 3x. Now, once the parentheses are gone, look for like terms. Now, I don't see any like terms here on the left. The 6 and the 6x are both different, so you cannot combine them. No way, can't do it. Shouldn't do it. I mean, you can do it, but you shouldn't do it because it would be wrong. So now, let's do like we did in example 1 and example 2. Let's get the x's on the same side. So that 3x is already by itself on the right, so let's move and push that 6x over. How do you undo subtraction? That's right, we're going to add 6x to each side. Excellent. All right, so now we have 6 is less than 9x. And then last step, how do you get the x by itself? That's right, you're going to divide each side by 9. Awesome. Now 6/9, don't leave that number until you've at least scanned it to see if it can be reduced. Is there a number that will reduce both the 6 and the 9? And some of you, I can read your mind. You're saying 3, Mrs. Thompson, and you would be absolutely right. And so we will reduce 6/9 down to 2/3, and here's our answer. And if you don't like reading it like this, where the 2/3 is on the left and you'd rather have the variable on the left, all you have to do is like flip the paper over, take x, and then greater than 2/3. And we'll switch the position of x and 2/3 and we'll flip our symbol over, and it's the same thing. 2/3 is less than x is the same thing as x is greater than 2/3. Okay. Now, my advice to you is I would pick a whole number and try it and just see, pick a number bigger than 2/3. So the next number that's bigger than 2/3 is the number 1. So let's try that. So we're going to do 1 minus 1 less than 3 times 1. All right, so 6 times, well, 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay. 3 times 1 is 3. 6 times 0 is 0. Is 0 less than 3? Yes, it is. Last time I checked, 0 is smaller than 3, and this is your correct answer. Okay? I do advise you to check your answers. Pick a number that is, like your answer says, greater than 2/3. It can be any number greater than 2/3. You may even want to check a number that's not greater than 2/3. That actually is less than 2/3 to see if it works or doesn't work in this case. Okay, second example here, we've got decimals. Don't let the decimals bother you. There is a way to not even have to worry about them, but if you're like, hey, decimals don't bother me, you can definitely work with them. There's no parentheses, so we don't have to do any distributing, but it's decimal, so I think that's why they threw it in here. We just need to follow our game plan and bring the x's together. So in order to do that, 1.6x is already by itself on the left. So let's just bring the 0.2x over to that side. We would do that by adding 0.2x to each side. line up your decimals. When you add or subtract decimals, you have to line up the decimals. And then 1.6x plus 0.2x is 1.8x, okay? And that's less than or equal to 0.9. And then you're going to divide each side by 1.8. Now remember, the rule doesn't apply here. I don't need to flip the symbol because I don't have a negative number that I just moved here. And then you've got to do 0.9 divided by 1.8. And you can put that in your calculator and see what you come up with. And I got the decimal 0.5, or 1/2. Okay. So what my advice to you is I would check this thing. There's just no good reason not to. So let's find a number, maybe a whole number, an integer that's less than 1/2. And I'm thinking 0. 0 is smaller than 1/2. So let's do 1.6 times 0 is less than or equal to negative 0.2 times 0 plus 0.9, okay? 1.6 times 0, anything times 0 is 0. So this is really a no-brainer, okay? And then we'll add those together and we'll get is 0 less than or equal to 0.9. And yes, it is. 0 is smaller than 0.9. So we know for a fact that this works. So I would just advise you to check your answers because checking will catch the error if you forgot to flip or you flipped when you shouldn't have. It will catch that error if you check it. And I'm totally advising you to do that. All right, let's get an extra credit. I think you guys need an extra credit. We love extra credit, so some of us do. Some of you guys don't even do it, so why do I bother? Let's see here. Let's do this one. 5 times the quantity, 2 minus r, is greater than or equal to 3 times the quantity, r minus 2. So there's your extra credit. We're going to do a little bit of simplifying on each side of that inequality symbol. You got plenty of room. You can do that towards the bottom of your page, to the side of your page, on a separate page. I don't really care. Just here's some extra credit for you to try. And I just want to challenge you guys, for those who are actually listening to the videos, if you will write the word pink in the lower right hand corner of this page of notes, I'll know that you watched this video. Please don't tell other kids that that's what I'm doing. This is for kids who are watching. So please, if you are watching this video, write the word pink in the lower right hand corner of this example, and then I'll know you're watching. Okay? Thanks for watching. Bring your questions to class.